Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from men who do it well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. Now I'm entitled this one, Esau was created to do only wickedness. And who is Esau? Edom, spoken about in the scriptures, that would be prophesied to have complete control and rulership of the entire planet Earth in these last days, ultimately by using that sword, using witchcraft and all these different means to deceive the whole world, to believe that the so-called white man, which is Esau, Edom, are the true chosen people of the scriptures. They're the true chosen people of the Lord, by deceiving the whole world, by making themselves to be the Judeans, but really they're imposters. But by means of deceiving the entire planet Earth through their wine, their philosophies, Christianity, Roman Catholicism, now the whole world really because the whole world's starting to wake up to who the devil really is, which is Esau, Edom. But a lot of people in the world still believe that the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, he could make things right here in America, Babylon the Great, because you have these red-blooded Edomites, and then you have even our own people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that are hoping in a righteous Edomite rulership, that somehow a righteous a righteous president is going to get in office and fix America and the economy and fix the world and erase the $40 trillion debt. Because really that's what they believed that Donald Trump was. Because they believed that somehow Donald Trump was going to come in and fix America, make America great again. But ultimately, he's doing the complete opposite. He's only destroying the economy more, because really, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, he wasn't created to do righteousness. He was only created to do wickedness. He's the perfect devil. He's the perfect race to go around the earth and destroy, rob, pillage, murder, rape, because that's what he was created by Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Heavenly Father, and the only begotten Son, to do, was to cause destruction, to destroy, to kill, to destroy the earth, the oceans, pollute the waters, create GMO foods, till the world could see this is what happens to the wicked. This is what happens when you rule in complete wickedness. Ultimately, you're going to get eradicated off the planet Earth. But now the world's starting to realize that the so-called white man can do nothing but wickedness. But you still have our people that somehow are hoping that the so-called white man can change his ways. Esau, Edom can be righteous. But no, ultimately Esau, Edom was only created to do wickedness. This is Psalms chapter 14 and verse 1. And it reads, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. So there is not one Edomite, the descendants of Esau, the so-called white people, because you are going to have Israelites that look like so-called white people, but ultimately their lineage goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because Israel has been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So you're going to have Israelites coming in all shapes, forms, and colors. But the wicked, which are the Edomites, they were created solely to do wickedness. They weren't created to do righteousness. And whenever they do a righteous act, ultimately it was by accident. It's because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai put it up on their spirit, to so-called do that righteous thing, maybe you got a promotion at the job, or maybe you see Esau, blessing the homeless out in the streets. But really, that was Yahweh Bashim Shai that was behind it, because Esau, Edom, he can't do righteousness because it's not in his spirit. Ultimately, the ones who were created to be righteous are the Israelites. But even right now, we're wearing these chains of darkness. We go off. But Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to change Israel to those new bodies. These wicked ass Edomites, that's all they were created to do only wickedness. It's not in their spirit. It's not in their DNA. It's not in their brain to do righteousness. It's just not in them. This is Psalms 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. So as soon as that red, pink, pale skin Edomite baby comes out the womb, he's ready to do some wickedness. Because ultimately that's what Yahweh Bashim Shai created him to do. He didn't create him to do righteousness, to keep the law, statutes, commandments, to set up righteousness up on the planet earth. No, ultimately, the ones who were created to establish a righteous rulership is the nation of Israel, not the nation of Esau, Edom. Because right now, we're in the kingdom of Esau, Edom, and what do you see? Nothing but complete wickedness, abominable works. Everything's upside down because of who's in rulership. But very soon, Yahweh Bashim Shai is about to bring this devil down, because he can't do no good. If it was up to him, he would eradicate life as it is. That's why Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to have to bring him down, because he does nothing but wickedness. He can't do no good. And that's something that our people are going to have to learn the hard way, because we still have our people, the Israelites, that have that hope that Esau, Edom, can change his ways and offer them reparations and give hugs out to our people and tell our people, oh, we're not racist no more, we accept you, you're allowed to be our equals. But no, ultimately we're not equal to these Edomites, these so-called white people, because really, we're above them. But Yahweh Bashim Shai put us in this lowest state because of how bad we went off, how much we fucked up. That's why we're in the condition we're in now. And Esau, Edom, is above the nation of Israel. He's in rulership position. This is Psalms 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So this is how these damn Edomites seduce and trick a lot of our people. Because of their words, these politicians, these celebrities, they love to push that good feel message to our people, because really that's who they targeting, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because these Edomites, they know who the true chosen people of Yahweh Bashim Shai are. So what do? They push all these abominable works on our people, these different politicians, pushing Jake to do wickedness, and our people fall for it. Especially with these elections that every 4 years, here these Republicans and Democrats have shown to be devils to our people. But what do our people do? They go up there and, I'm gonna vote for him now. Maybe he's different. I'm gonna vote for him now. Maybe he's not a devil no more. But ultimately, Esau, Edom, he was created to do only wickedness and nothing else. He's not meant to be good. And our people are gonna have to learn the hard way. Especially when they offer that MOTB, that Karagma, he's going to come with those smooth words again. He's going to be like, man, take this. It's just like he came to Eve in the garden, that serpent, which it was a man, but that, that conniving, slick, if you take this, you're not going to die. You're going to be okay. You're going to have your money in your bank account again. You're going to live longer, and all these incentives that he's so-called going to offer, but really he's offering death. He's telling you, if you take this, you're not going to die. But ultimately, the complete opposite thing is going to happen. You're going to get that second death, the missiles, the lake of fire. But our people are going to have to learn the hard way that this devil's not for us. That ultimately he was only created created to do wickedness. It's in Jeremiah chapter 13 and verse 23. Can the Ethiopian change his way, his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. And this devil is only accustomed to do evil, wickedness, abominable works. He's not. His spirit is not his spirit cannot do righteousness at all. It don't matter how hard he tries. He may wake up one day, oh, I feel like doing righteousness today. No, ultimately Esau, Edom, was only created to do wickedness upon the planet Earth, especially to our people, because he's the Heavenly Father's whipping stick. That's why he's, fucking us up so bad, because we went off. Ultimately, we know that Yahweh Bashim Shai is about to bring this devil down very soon. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, which ultimately that word perdition is going into destruction. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the only nation that's prophesied to not receive any mercy. Yahweh Bashim Shai is not going to have mercy on these devils. They're going to have to serve that 1,000 long hardcore year slavery, and then they're going to be eradicated off the planet Earth. And ultimately that's prophecy, because now that's happening in the last days. Now Esau, Edom, the so-called white man is being exposed. He's being revealed of who he truly is. He can't hide under these different nationalities no more, under Europeans, under Israelis and tiny caps and Germans and all these different nations that Esau, Edom has put upon himself, because he's everybody. He's the Israelites, he's the Egyptians, he's the Vikings, he's the South Africans, he's the Iranian, he's everybody but Esau, Edom. But ultimately that's letting you know that he's cornered. Yahweh Bashim Shai is exposing this devil from who he really is, because even us, we fell away from our heritage. Esau, Edom hijacked our heritage, and now you got this devil boasting, all proud as all hell, thinking that he's not going to be judged. But Yahweh Bashim Shai is exposing him in these last days. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worship, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is God. And how did he do that? Through that Renaissance period, going around the world and painting over the images of the true people of Yahweh Bashim Shai, the Israelites, painting over the image of the Heavenly Father and the only begotten Son, changing up the names, deceiving the whole world that they're the true people of Yahweh Bashim Shai. And it worked. It worked for a certain period of time, but sooner or later, that deception started crumbling, and it started crumbling in the 60s when our elder Abba Bibbins, High Priest Abba Bibbins, came on the scene and started going into the New Testament, and the truth went out. And now it's to the point where this devil has been exposed. Now the whole world knows who the true problem of the earth is. The tiny caps, the small hats, the 48ers. Now the whole world is starting to realize, man, these aren't the true people of the Heavenly Father and the only begotten Son. How can they be if all they do is, fuck shit up, do wickedness? But you still have our people, still going to these churches, worshiping these whitewashed images, because Yahweh Bashim Shai didn't give them the truth. He didn't give the truth to everybody. He didn't give the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to all of Israel. He only gave it to the elect. Verse 5, remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things. Verse 6, and now you know that withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time, and is being revealed. It's being revealed, but how much more now? Now the whole world's starting to realize that, damn, the true problem of the earth, of the cancer of the earth, is the so-called white man Esau, Edom. But he's trying to blame it on Jake. Man, Jake ain't going around and taking the resources from all these different nations, putting their currency and military bases. No, that's Esau Edom. That's the so-called white man. He's the one going around the world talking about, man, we're going to impose our democracy on you. We're going to give you this loan, but you got to pay it back. That's the so-called white man Esau Edom doing that. That's not the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans going around to different nations and bombing nations. It says, verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, and he who now letteth will let until he be taken out the way. Verse 8, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, his prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And it's being revealed who this devil is, because the prophets of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, who are speaking boldly in front of this devil, tell him who he is, tell him the Rothschilds that they're the Amalekites. It's being revealed who the true Amalekites are, which are the tiny caps, the tiny hats. Verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. And who are the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan? The sons of the wicked, the Edomites, Esau, Edom. Verse 10, with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So majority of Jake, they're just not going to get it. It don't matter how many times you tell them, man, the so-called white man is the wicked. He's never going to do good. Don't trust him. He's your number one enemy. But what do our people do? They like I said in Sirach, never trust our enemy. They do the complete opposite. They trust in the enemy. Verse 11, and for this cause, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai shall send them a strong delusion, that they shall believe a lie. And they believe the lie, and a lot of them still do. Stockholm Syndrome, believing that Esau Edom is foreign, because they've been whooped so hard, they've been getting their ass kicked so long. And they're like, man, nah, I love this abusive relationship. I don't want to leave it. But Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is going to have to put majority of our people to death, because they're not going to learn it. They're not going to get it that Esau Edom's not foreign. Only the elect of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai are going to understand that this devil was only created to do wickedness. But that's pretty much the point. Praise is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who well in this truth from who do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. Until you, I say shalom.